larger questions, yes. The larger questions that you have asked is there a split, or is there a looming split? Are hands off, gloves off the hands? And the reference is being made to the statements made by the Deputy President over the weekend in Kisii. I think let me make use three examples. Yes. Because the people who have responded to what the Deputy President said is, one of those people is Commander in Murang'a somewhere, accompanied by my former Member of Parliament, Joshua Toro. I can tell you that one instance is when we went for the burial of Gachagwa's mother. Somebody called Kaninke, a Member of Parliament for Kieni, came with a contribution. And in the most uncouth manner, presented a contribution purportedly from the head of state for supporting the family, and give it in public. You know, in our culture, we don't do those things, especially on the burial day, because it's not a harabe day. It's a very solemn day when you are going to bury your mother. And he announced and said he has been sent by the head of state. Then sometimes a month ago or 2 months ago in Maragua, the member of parliament, the county member of parliament for Murang'a, Sabina Chege, brought a donation of 500,000, just like the one Kanin Kega had brought. That was a harambe that was there, and said it's a contribution from the head of state in the presence of the president, or the deputy president. During Rubia's burial, myself, I had been given, condolences to deliver to the family, which I delivered the day before, because, at the family home, because I knew the head of state is going to be part of the function. And I cannot stand there and start giving condolence in front of the president of his deputy, because in terms of protocol, you are breaching all protocols. Look at that issue. If this actually happened, and I seem to have made some inquiries because it's a headline, and I'm told it actually happened, that the staff of the state, of the government employees, have put clothes together from the home of the deputy president, unaware, and he actually went to that home and found that his things have been, what kind of madness is this? So, when then the deputy president is responding to this particular matter, he's saying there appears to be some conmanship. And he said the initial plan by the president was that him and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga want to bring the country together through the BBI. The big, deeper question is, have we started to bring the country together with all these alternative or divergent views? Does it sound like the country is coming together or dividing ourselves further through the BBI? Is there an inception problem or conception problem? And then how can we deal with it? If you asked me, and I have said it on this platform, that I think the beginning of the BBI, the thought may have been good, but the execution has become completely disastrous, because there are people saying they don't feel included. One of the 9 points is inclusivity. How far can you go telling Kenyans that you are including people, and when then you start, and then when you look at it from even the bombers, look at how the management of even that platform, the launching of the report to the Kenyans, where is the document? How was it managed? Was there an open, purposeful objective to embarrass the deputy president? You see, it was a state function one way or the other, because the head of state, like in bombers then, was obviously the main guest. How did it happen that the deputy president is actually the one speaking after the prime minister, the former prime minister? That still is a breach of protocol. So those people who are saying that the deputy president is disrespecting the president because of speaking his mind have forgotten the bar. And this is the point, that the deputy president is not an appointee of the president.
He's elected.
He's an elected deputy president under our constitution. His removal cannot be by witch hunting, by publicly embarrassing him, because then you weaken the presidency. He is serving in the presidency. So for me, I think, and when you look at all these things, the president, obviously, the head of state, must be aware of all these things surrounding the BBI. The launch of the campaign, the second, is it BBI, is it being called what? BBI 2, season 2?
Season 2.
Season 2, yes. By a cabinet minister who is illegally presiding over a committee of other ministers, because ministers are constitutional officers and they are not supposed to report to anybody else, to a minister of the, I mean, there is no chief minister. There is no chief minister. You may have your own opinion. This is my opinion. And this is the point. The Constitution creates the offices of cabinet secretaries. And the cabinet is chaired by the head of state. So when you create this other office with the intention of again undermining your deputy, I think we should be able to speak and say you are undermining the constitution that we are supposed to be defending.
If we want to take this country forward, we need to be very honest with ourselves and portray good faith and good intentions for this country. You know, BBI has had issues from some political class right from the beginning. I was in this show sometimes with Gladys Sholay, and you remember she said this process of BBI is illegal and that she was going to move to court to challenge this process. So what you are seeing here is just a continuation of people.
And Gladys promised you shall go to court, isn't it?
Yeah, she did. Who are opposed to BBI. Okay. So this country can't move forward when you have a deputy president who during the day he says, I'm for BBI. But at night, he's scheming to scuttle the BBI. I think if we want to portray to this country that we can be leaders of integrity, let us come to a table and say, if you are opposed to BBI, just come out and exercise your democratic right and say, I don't agree with this document, I'm on this other side. Instead of being somebody who is having a double speak. You know, inclusivity is not that simple, the way my good friend Gladys Sholay is putting it. It's not about going to these commissions and say, now assist Kenyans to be inclusive. We are looking at inclusivity at the top government level. Look at some regions where over 4 cabinet secretaries.
Want to create positions?
No. We want to share positions across the country. When you are talking about cabinet positions, we want inclusivity so that you don't talk about 2 ethnic groups coming together and you form government. We want a government that brings on board all Kenyans. That's what inclusivity is all about. It's not cheapening it and saying that we have commissions, Kenya Human Rights Commissions, you can go there and give your views.
All right.
You know, let's not cheapen
questions around also.
And then, before, you know, if I can give you the global perspective, you know, people think that amending the constitution is not an illegality. The Americans passed their constitution in 1787. In 1791, 5 years down the line, they did 11 amendments to the constitution, including the celebrated Bill of Rights. It was done after 5 years. So let's not portray to Kenyans that when you want to relook at the constitution, you are engaging in an illegality. It's not an illegality. It's a document that was prepared by the people of Kenya.
But it's not a document of one person or some people.
Yes. Can I have, and then finally, Dibal, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade. The BBI is a process that will be determined eventually by the people of Kenya. Public participation is something that is anchored in our constitution. When you go to the people seeking their views, you cannot say that the task force already went around and sought their views. Whichever way Dibal get it from me here today, there is no way you will change an article of any article in our current constitution without public participation. There are so many cases from our courts that say any process that does not give a chance to Kenyans to air their views will be declared a nullity.
Right.
So let's separate.
Don't you think when we first of all we need to ask ourselves what is the rhyme and reason again of extending the task force
Season 2.
Yeah, Tam, season 2 that you're talking about.
I just wanted to make a
comment.
Gladys
just quoted from, actually, just a moment. She quoted from the document itself that this particular exercise that, we went through was very consultative, right? In the history of his country. So why again have a season 2 with extension of a term? Is there any reason?
Term consultative is relative.
What do you mean it's relative?
The BBI season 1 may have had consultative meetings.
Allow me to make an intervention.
Let me tell you, if you can't protect me from these honorable members, then I don't need to be in this forum. When they speak, I don't speak. Can we have order?
Thank you. Alice, we'll give you a time to rejoin.
It's just I rejoined.
When you go to the people, if you follow the proceedings in Kisii, people were given an opportunity to air their views. And there is one MP from Kuria called Kiatama. He made a very strong submission that the Koreans are making a request that in season 2, and that's a very close ally of the DP, and he's my good friend. He said that in this second, consultative forums, he wants the views of the Koreans. And he came with a team of 2 buses from Korea. And he said, I want season 2 to consider including a recommendation that Korea should have a county.
So that's what we consulted before.
I think that's what he's saying.
So
what we are saying is, Dibal, so what is illegal?
So if you are giving,
what I want my colleagues to tell me, what is illegal if you go to the people and you give them an opportunity to comment on the contents of BBI? What is illegal? What is political about it?
Let me just answer him very quickly on that particular. You see, Okongo Omugeni is a lawyer. And he understands that even as we are talking now, we have no legal framework to guide these consultations that he's talking about. To guide this, is it public awareness? Is it a campaign for season 2 BBI or what? If then we found that there was need to go back to the people, then we should have come to Parliament, prepare a legal framework to be able to, because now you cannot say that you are allowing Matiang'i or Okongo or Alice Wahome to be the one who will go to campaign for the BBI. To that extent, the whole thing is a sham. We must come back to the drawing board that he's talking about so that we tell Kenya, season 2 has these gaps. And because this BBI report did not even tell us that there are gaps. We were supposed to be reading this document. So, and the head of state has not even extended the period. He's still yet to gazette. So instead of even gazetting, with all these uncertainties of and how people will handle season 2, I think we should put this thing before Parliament. Then the government, then, if it is the owner, because it obviously the president has a stake in this thing on behalf of maybe Kenyans, but then let's have these thoughts in a bill, a proposal, so that then people, even Kenyans, can contribute and say, this is how we want to guide this process from now onward. And unless we do that, so that you are actually conducting this thing, because you must divorce it from politics. If you remember the other process, constitution-making process, it was not being guided by politicians. We were just campaigning for it, but there was a committee, there was a legal framework that did all the awareness, prepared all the materials.
We'll come to Gladys.
This is really conmanship.